The astute of you out there will notice that this is my first episode review I've done on my channel since Castlemania. Well, that's for a couple of reasons. First off, there are plenty of other analysts doing episode reviews, so I feel like others can handle the episode reviews while I delve into more obscure stuff. Plus, most of the episodes this season have been fairly uncontroversial, so I've never felt the need to make a video about my opinion of them. For example, Flight to the Finish. Great episode, fantastic message, takes forever to get started. Pinky Apple Pie. Not a lot happens, but it's a nice simple story. Rainbow Falls. Story's total garbage, lots of the cast feels out of character, but it had some nice world building and Dorpy was in it, so woo woo. Pinky Pride. An all-time great. Weird Al was amazing. Philly Vanilli. Amazing continuity, great humor, but what the fuck, Pinky? A lot of you probably feel the same way I do about most of these episodes, so I didn't feel it necessary to make a video about it. This episode, though, as soon as the episode finished, I thought, there's gonna be some people who don't like this one. And sure enough, as the reviews started to pour in, it became pretty clear reception was mixed. And it seemed to come down to whether or not you could appreciate what the Breezies are or not. If you could, like Give and Take or Cam Goes Pony, you'll love this episode. If you can't, like Tommy Oliver or the two best brothers bitching about ponies, then you'll hate it. Now personally, I thought the episode was fairly good, although since I still don't think we've had the bomb of the season yet, it's in the middle for the season. Fluttershy seems to have undergone some friggin' growth during this season. During the first 3 seasons, Fluttershy's episodes typically focused on her shyness, but in this season she's kinda branched out. Bats was centered around her relationship with animals, Philly Vanilli, although kind of about shyness, framed it in a new way, and this episode focused on her kindness, which you might expect this being her key episode. Now one of the things I found kind of interesting was who this episode's moral was aimed at. We've had lessons for kids, we've had lessons for teenagers, but this lesson was legit for adults, specifically for parents. There's a fine line between being kind and coddling, and sometimes the kindest thing you can do is say no to someone. Haven't you met some parents that could definitely afford to learn that lesson? And that's basically what Fluttershy was to the Breezies, an overprotective parent spoiling her kids. I also thought the ending part where the main 6 turned into Breezies was cool, but I need to say something that needs to be said. Can we stop using this episode as a giant toy commercial as a criticism? Newsflash, the entire show is a giant toy commercial. This is Hasbro we're talking about here. Every decision they make is made with toy sales in mind. Every time they introduce a recurring character or a unique looking character, there will be a toy to go along with it. That is not an excuse for anything since, as we all know, this giant toy commercial has done some amazing things. So with that said, the transformation scene was pretty cool and to me it made sense. This wasn't a spell that just arbitrarily turned ponies into Breezies. Since Rainbow asked Twi if she could get turned into a griffin and Twilight acted as though she could but she wouldn't, it's most likely a simple transformation spell. Aim at who you want to transform, then aim at who you want to transform into, and you are now that thing. That seems like something that could be very useful and much more plausible than, say, a spell that sends clones back to where they came from, or a spell that makes small animals not want to eat anymore. Now, I'd like to take a minute to talk about how much of a boss Seabreeze is. Cause dude's a total frickin' boss. I mean, didn't you expect the Breezies to sound like some cutesy poo little fairy thing? When they broke out into some mutant combination of Swedish and Scottish, I about lost it. Wasn't expecting that, but then again, this show is in the business of breaking stereotypes, so I can't be too shocked. Now, I think it's safe to say that everyone was surprised to see that Seabreeze was a guy. I will admit that making a guy with long eyelashes, pink hair, and a super squeaky voice did make things rather confusing. But I think I found the thing you can use to tell the difference between male and female Breezies. The hair. There was about a 50-50 split between long and short-haired Breezies. Whenever the Breezies were reunited with their loved ones, each of the pairings had a long-haired Breezie and a short-haired Breezie, and all of the main 6 had long hair in their Breezie form, so it's possible that females of that species just have long hair. Back to Seabreeze. I like how he was kind of a dick to the other Breezies. Even before we found out he had a wife and kid at home, I liked his take-no-crap attitude, since, well, he was right. The other Breezies were acting like a bunch of dumbs who just wanted to mooch off of Fluttershy forever. Although, I can't really hold that against them, since Fluttershy kept offering to take care of them, and whenever someone does that, it's often difficult to say no. Especially given how small they are. I mean, everything they encounter could either eat them or crush them. Maybe the Breezies are just happy to be with someone that doesn't want them dead. Also, this whole alternate dimension thing that the other analysts keep bringing up, can we please stop it? Not once did any pony say the words alternate dimension or alternate world or another world or anything like that. Just because someone says the word portal doesn't mean alternate dimensions are involved. All a portal is an entrance or a gateway. Hell, one of dictionary.com's definitions of the word is an entrance to a tunnel or mine, and that's exactly what the Breezies went into. Can we please stop trying to find weird shit where there is no weird shit to be had? My best guess is that the Breezies used to live in Equestria proper, but eventually moved into that cave, which led led to a valley that predators never found. They then built a barrier preventing animals from wandering into their territory, and when they need to go back into the outside world, they use their magic to open up a hole or a portal in the barrier. There, I just made all of that weird stuff make total sense without bringing up the words alternate dimensions. Unfortunately, this episode isn't totally perfect. There was a lot of exposition in this episode. Most of the dialogue before the Breezies arrived in Ponyville was just explaining what the Breezies were doing and where they were coming from, and it was boring! And as I mentioned, the other Breezies were pretty stupid and nearly incapable of doing anything besides being sickeningly cute. But I still like this episode for one phrase that I've been praying an episode would accomplish. Putting your hoof down done right. Fluttershy got pushed around by the Breezies, but it was never malicious on anyone's part. And when Fluttershy got angry at someone, in this case the bees, not only was it justifiable, but she escalated from calmly asking to calmly bargaining to getting reasonably upset. So in the end, I still quite liked this episode. It had a great moral, Seabreeze was a frickin' boss, it was diabetes-inducingly adorable, Fluttershy acted in a believable and interesting manner, and the opening scene was basically Sonic Rainboom in reverse, and any reference that I can get to best episode makes me a happy pony. I'll give this episode an 85 out of 100. Thank you, and I'll see y'all later. Haha, I'm not even a Hoovian, and I see what you did there.